In this episode of TWiP, I travel down to Old San Juan, Puerto Rico to chat with the RGGEDU.com guys, Gary and Rob. We talk about their ideas about reinventing online education.
RGGEDU.com.
This is TWiP. I'm here with the powerhouse behind the educational behemoth, also known as RGGEDU.com.
I'm the power and you're the house.
You guys are the 1-2 punch.
Who's the left hand? And I was the education.
There's a left hand and a right hand. Who's the left hand? Who's the right hand?
I'm
in
the
this team?
backhand for sure.
Oh, there's no question.
And Rob's actually just two left hands.
I'm definitely walnut.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So we are courtesy of you guys here in Old San Juan in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing me down here.
Anytime.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Why don't we do this every year?
I think you should do it every year.
Yeah, let's do it every year.
Kind of are. I mean,
That was the joke, Rob.
You skipped a year. Yeah.
That was the joke.
no, we kind of.
You remember that whole bear trap thing we were talking about over lunch?
You
Do
already
you remember how I always step into it?
You step into it.
It's part of how this relationship works. If he just set traps and I never went in there, it'd be no fucking fun.
See,
I think you need a MySpace animated GIF of a bear trap.
That's a cop-out, Rob.
Let's make it happen.
You're not purposely walking into these. You find yourself in them and you can't get out.
So,
That's because
listeners,
I'm using logic and reason.
listeners, you can tell these guys are crazy.
That's the
Yeah.
last thing I should be
Logic and
doing
reason.
with you.
these guys started
Logic.
you can hear the culture of the company that they built, and I've been experiencing this culture for the last couple of days. You guys have built an awesome company full of.
Those are actually Mickey's I've been putting in your beer. That's what you've been feeling.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We built
yeah.
a culture of abuse.
I felt something last night. I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah.
So that's good. So I'm glad you guys are down for doing TWiP. I have a lot of questions for you. I've been wanting to chat with you guys for a while about just what you've built, why you built it, where's it going, where's it been, how'd you guys meet, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys are co-founders of the company. Rob, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Sure. I'm Rob Grimm. I've been a commercial photographer for pushing 30 years, which is a little bit of time, working in the food and beverage world. And ran studios in St. Louis and Chicago. Worked basically kind of all over the world with my client base, and loved it. The world of commercial photography has absolutely been amazing for me.
Fantastic.
It's just been who I am from kind of day one.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Nice. And now you're hooked up with this guy, Gary.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Who, I'm really good at drinking booze. So we instantly.
Actually, I'm pretty good at it too.
Yeah, you think you are.
For a skinny guy, I'm all right. Yeah, you think you are.
Definitely. Gary Martin, and co-founder with Rob on RGG EDU, which stands for Rob and Gary's Great Education.com.
Does it really?
No.
I was going to ask that. That was my number one question. What does it stand for?
It does, Rob.
We've turned it into that. It was born from the photo studio, which was RGG Photo. So one of the things that's cool about our company is that we were born from a commercial studio. We come with chops. We didn't just create something. But we've joked that it's Rob and Gary's Great Education because that's what it is. It's awesomeness.
It is.
It's all kinds
really
of
cool.
awesome.
You guys have a unique approach to how you approach education, and I know there's lots of changes coming. We can talk about that if you guys are able to. But why don't you talk about that, the lineage of how you went from the world of commercial photography and into education, and why? You want to start with?
Sure. Well, for me personally, I think I always had an interest in education. I come from a long line of educators. My father was honestly just amazing. He was an unbelievable educator. And when Gary and I were working together at RGG Photo, Gary really pushed hard for education.
Hey, quiet down. We're doing a podcast in here.
God. It does a much better way to handle it. Yeah.
We are in Puerto Rico, ladies and gentlemen.
They stopped.
It did.
Quiet down.
It did work.
You asked nicely.
That was nice.
Until somebody lobs a stick of dynamite up here.
Or a dead pigeon or something's going to come through that window.
That sounds like dinner.
That's funny. All right, where was I? You got to quiet them down.
You're telling us about how awesome you are. No.
No. So Gary really started pushing the idea of doing education, and we started hooking up with companies like Flern and F-Stoppers and teaching workshops and going on Creative Live. And throughout that process, Gary and I kept talking about the fact that they were missing the boat on a lot of things. While they're great platforms in many ways, I think Gary and I had a very clear vision of a better way to do it. One that really made a better connection to the instructor and the students. Something that really kind of crossed the line or merged the idea of documentary and tutorial. It's a how-to, but it's also a why. Why does that person create? How do they create? What is it about that person that is so driving that they have to do this? And we want an understanding of their life. So a lot of the ways we've set this up, and particularly Gary driving the idea of shooting these like a live-action film. I mean, we script everything in terms of building a curriculum. We sit down with photographers and understand what's in their wheelhouse, and then help them put that into kind of a curriculum that turns into our shot list. So we think about the way people are going to learn before we ever roll the cameras.
So you guys are breaking out from that whole idea of, hi, I'm John Doe, and I'm going to teach you about luminosity masking. Let's go to the screencast.
It's very much, the simplest way that I put it to people is, imagine if David Lynch were to shoot lynda.com. Like, that's what we want it to be.
You're bringing
entertaining. And I mean, there's something about the aesthetics of like great cinematography that you want to keep watching. So if it's not shot well and it doesn't sound well, you're less likely to want to go through, long training. Some of our projects end up being 15, 20 hours long. In the earlier days, they're right around 10 hours now. But if it's not eye candy on screen, then why watch it? So, and most people don't do that because shooting film, shooting a movie is incredibly difficult and incredibly time consuming, and it takes an army of talented people for it to come together. Like with photography, it's one person, one camera. You can accomplish a lot, but with moving pictures with audio as well, to do that and to deliver something that is of top quality, it's incredibly expensive and incredibly
that expense you have to translate down to the end consumer, right? Which means your products are slightly more expensive than other people, right? How do you manage that? And that perception, well, I want to learn A, B, and C. I could go spend X dollars with RGG EDU, or I could go over to, other company and spend less.
There's only two ways to really manage that in terms of getting that message out. Either people have to be turned on by the trailers and the teasers and the promotional pieces that we put out so that they have that understanding of the quality, or word of mouth. There's no other way to convince them. I mean, they have to see our stuff. I think Gary and I have been the perfect marriage of understanding the motion side and the still side. Gary comes from a background of doing documentary films, traveling all over the world, figuring out how to get in and out of places and make stuff happen.
Nice. It's also the perfect marriage because I'm one hell of a cuddler. I've never not cuddled you when you needed it.
You are a giant teddy bear, and I love to cuddle you. I can say that right here, right now. I love to cuddle with you.
TWiP listeners, you see how this they're going to be spooning on the table in a minute.
This is our first beer of the day.
I know. Let's get more and get going faster.
They're these little tiny 10-ounce power beers.
I know. They really...
Yeah, they're a fistful of dollars right there. And we need this, right? Because it is hot here.
It is hotter than
it's hot and humid. You could drink the air.
Bolas.
You could drink the air.
I've got a cup of water in my pants right now, just
sloshing around.
You sure that's water?
What else could it be, Rob?
All the things you're sweating out.
Oh, God.
That's not water.
Toxins. It's toxic stuff.
I'm putting this train back on the tracks.
Okay, so the other component of this, that the documentary film style, kind of married with the idea, and I think this is a huge differentiator for us to anybody that's out there, is that we feel it's really important that the quality of the content we create equals that of the artists that we profile. We're profiling professional photographers, people who are living and breathing and making a living creating images for some of the biggest clients in the world. We cannot just do some crappy thing where we turn on a couple of cameras, let it run, and then stick it up on YouTube 4.5 minutes later and say, okay, here it is. That's not their level. And we need to be on that level all the time, because that's what commercial photography is.
And Gary, why do you feel you guys need to be at that level? If the baseline in the education or the online education world is set by, let's say, lynda.com, they kind of set the standard a while back that, hey, face on camera, screencast, face on camera, goodbye. Right? Why are you moving in the direction of, let's make it cinematic, let's put effort and money into this thing?
I mean, ultimately it's art, and anything, I've always liked the quote, anything worth doing is worth doing well. So I like the fact that it's a challenge for us to come together to create something that you're proud of. So, you know, I think the byproduct of that people really enjoy, but you know, since day one, you know, we all came together and said we want to make stuff that we want to learn from. And I think this goes back to when I was living in Eastern Europe and I was just getting into photography. And this is back, I had just gotten my white MacBook. That was my first computer right out of college. So I had the white MacBook. I had just joined the Peace Corps. So I'm living in Eastern Europe. I have a little point and shoot camera, and this Apple computer like opened up creativity to me in like weird ways. Like iPhoto, for whatever reason, was like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna get more into photography. So living there, trying to figure out more about how to learn photography was incredibly frustrating because at the time there wasn't a lot of resources out there, and specifically with filmmaking. I wanted to get into filmmaking as well because there was a crazy story of Moldova and whether life was better in the Soviet Union. I kept hearing this common denominator of life was better during the Soviet Union. As a Westerner, you know, we're taught to like, you know, the Soviet Union was completely bad. Yeah. But at the time, Moldova was still Europe's only communist country. So I remember one night after a lot of beers, myself and another person decided to make a film about that.
Imagine that there was beer involved with this.
Of course, I'm seeing a trend here.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. You have a problem, Rob.
I have a whole bunch. One to my left. But
don't say that about Frederick.
Yeah, he's not to my left.
Well, technically, the planet's round.
You're also two rights.
So then we ended up embarking on this 2-year journey of making the film and launching it, and I fell in love with filmmaking at that point, and then I had also had this frustration about online education, and I was also fresh out of college, which I hated my degree. I loved the university. I went to University of Denver. I ended up getting a degree in finance, but you know, 2 years into it, I was like, you know, I don't want a degree in finance, but I don't want to pay another 40 grand because now I have to change my major again. So I just stuck it out. It was incredibly useful to get a business degree, don't get me wrong, but I would have much preferred to have focused on something that I loved and was passionate about, like something with art. So just having that frustration and then coming back from you know, the Peace Corps, it was always in the back of my mind of there should be a better way that's way more affordable than spending 40 grand to learn photography. And that's kind of how I hooked up with Rob, started doing you know, whether it was digital teching or helping to produce stuff. I was working with a lot of different photographers in town. And at the time I was also working with Apple, and then I was almost about to take a job in Cupertino and would move my whole family to California. And then it just so happened that Rob's studio manager quit, and I just saw this huge opportunity of we could probably end up making something awesome. And then, you know, a year and a half later, EDU was born. And
that was kind of the fork in the road.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's really interesting because, you know, I think you look at how a lot of businesses run and the partnerships that they have, and I think that we've got really something unique in having history and kind of roots and understanding of the commercial business, and also having kind of power and wisdom and youth and understanding how that could be leveraged in a new way. And I don't know, I'm very proud of what Gary and I have built. I think it's a very unique company. While it's not unique in that, you know, there are other tutorial companies out there, there's no question. And maybe I'm totally biased, but I just feel like we've done something that is really unique because it is an extension of who both Gary and I are as artists. You know, our business is our art. And we've stayed true to that the whole time. Whether we've kind of merged from doing the commercial work into this, we're still making art. But it happens to be art about teaching how to be artists.
And it's funny you guys mentioned Apple, right? Because I can feel some of the DNA of an Apple type experience in the way that you guys present the company. Is that
half
intentional?
Of our employees came from Apple.
Okay,
so when I left, I kept just bringing people over. I was just like, you're way more talented than this. Let's go.
He just camped out in the parking lot at One Infinite Loop.
Our first employee
he started bringing more people from Apple because he got sick of me asking what my password was, and he's like, somebody else take over for this. So we keep hiring people from Apple to help me with
Bob Grimm 66. I don't know why you can't remember that.
It doesn't work.
Write it down. You could easily write down. That's the tattoo you need to get on Saturday. Bob Grimm 66.
There you go.
There's never going to be a reason for you not to know your password.
Everybody will know my password.
How?
Because it'll be tattooed on me.
What are you talking about?
And there it is. There's
So
the magic.
this is how it goes.
You guys are like
Every
you're
time.
like Abbott and Costello of the online education industry.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
How big is RGG EDU? Like, how many employees are you guys rocking right now? And are you at your?
There's 16 of us, and then there's
Yeah.
a variety of part-time. Those are full-time people, and there's a variety of, I guess, part-time contractors that we use. You know,
Yeah.
we outsource anything from camera ops to digital techs to PAs, and we have them all over the world actually. So depending on where we go, we have kind of built this network of people that kind of know our style and help us shoot or produce something in an area that we don't know how to produce in.
Yeah.
But our core is 16 people.
16.
Back in the
16 rock
home
stars,
office.
basically. Right?
Yeah, actually, I think that we're very fortunate in the people we've hired.
Yeah.
We've been able to hire people.
Present company accepted.
Yeah, except for these chuckleheads, you know, trying to figure out batteries and volumes and how to load a Polaroid camera. But other than that, we got it all going.
Yeah,
on.
Other than that,
You know, one of our most recent hires was someone that we kind of got to know on a podcast that at the time of recording this isn't even out yet, and that's Emily, and she ended up joining forces with us and actually moved to Missouri without ever visiting the Midwest. She moved from California a few months ago.
Wow.
That's how awesome our company is.
That's a leap of faith. That's a leap of faith. But she's probably thinking, you know what? There's an airport right there.
And same thing with Matt. Matt was he's running our audio board right now. He was first a customer of ours, and we met him after a giveaway we did, and he, I think, realized we were in St. Louis, and we realized he was close enough to come by to pick up a custom Tim Tatter hat, I think it was. And started following him online, and then like 8-9 months later, I was like, this guy's producing a lot of great stuff. Let's bring him on board.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
Our staff is equally as passionate about what they do as we are, and they want to work, and they want to come to the studio and produce amazing content.
That's fantastic.
And you know what's great about it is that they keep pushing Gary and I. They're like, no, let's try this. Let's try this. So it's up to us to kind of know where we need to put the brakes on it. But for the most part, we've got a crew that is actually really good about helping to push us, which is...
If I ever put the brakes on anything, Rob, it's gas or nothing.
especially in a school zone.
Yes.
What about competition? Like we were talking when we started.
Do we have any?
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, we do. Of course we do.
Definitely.
Of course we do.
So I think the biggest comment that I see is definitely you could learn this for free on YouTube for free.
Sure.
So I think YouTube, in many ways, is our biggest competitor. But if you really spend either a minute talking with me or just a minute hearing from other people about just the sheer comprehensiveness and volume of one project that you get from ours, I mean, it's the equivalent of semesters worth of classes or years of assisting someone.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the fact that you can and this is what I hated about college, you can never really rewatch anything. You had to rely on your notes. I was always leaving there, like I would, take audio recordings of classes. At one point, I was actually filming my classes just to rewatch them. And I was just like, is it better? Like, maybe it's just me. That's just not how I like to learn. I've always been more of a video learner, and I have to repeat things because I'm definitely not going to comprehend it the first time as much as I, if
You're barely going to comprehend
Speak to
it.
that a little bit. The evolution of the education space, because I don't know if you guys know, but I was the chairman of the board at Brooks Institute. Remember those guys?
Yeah.
Very well.
That that I was the chairman that oversaw the demise and the shutdown of Brooks Institute because of folks like you.
Really?
Yeah.
We brought you down.
No, well, it was just it was mainly YouTube, basically what you're saying, Gary. YouTube and online education, and the fact that those kinds of brick and mortar schools are not cheap in any respect, in terms of relocation and tuition and yada yada yada. So it makes more sense to learn the way that you guys are putting education out there. Do you guys still see brick and mortar schools, the ones that are left, as threats to you?
No, not at all. I think that they're too cost prohibitive. Gary's right. If you go onto YouTube, you can learn just about anything. Now, I don't think you're going to find it in a very comprehensive fashion. It's a lot of tidbits. It's a lot of little clips. It's all these little pieces where our stuff is a curated curriculum, and you're going to really understand how to learn about this particular process and then how to go execute that process yourself. So that's a shift. I think what's out there in terms of traditional education, universities, or what was Brooks or RISD, or you name it, Rochester, that stuff, I don't know. I personally, we want to disrupt that. It seems crazy to spend that kind of money on that kind of education. But I will tell you, there's a flip side, and I know for myself and a lot of the instructors that we bring on board, it's not always easy to say to yourself, okay, I am going to put my heart and soul into this. I'm going to put a ton of information. I'm going to teach you everything that I do with beer, and I'm going to sell it for $300. Because I'm going to shave 5 years off of your life. If you want to be a beverage shooter, I'll give you everything I got, and I'm going to take time off of your life. For $300, I feel like I should charge you $300,000 per person, because it's saving you an enormous amount of time. But what we do has the ability to really reach a lot of people, and it has the ability to affect, at least I hope, and this is the driver for me, I want to change the business. I want to change the course of the business. I want to elevate everybody's game. I want us to compete on a different level than just who's got the lowest price. It should be about eye and composition and
you want to change the
style.
Perception of what education should cost. I mean, you guys, we've been talking about cost. What's the average cost of a tutorial on RGG EDU?
I don't know. Average cost, it varies. I think that maybe the cheapest we've ever been able to make one that's probably just post-production is around 10 to 15, and those are just hard costs of
Are you talking about cost to make or cost that we sell?
No, cost the retail price.
And we're still the most expensive tutorial company out there. And I think we should be in many ways, because we put way more in our productions than anybody else. By far. Masterclass is close.
Walmart jewelry counter versus Tiffany's. Right.
Yeah, but it's hard to convince people to buy Tiffany's. I mean, it's a brand that has history and story and polish.
I don't even think I've ever been in a Tiffany's.
Oh, I have.
Because you can't afford it, man.
As he says with regret, why did I go to Tiffany's?
Those blue boxes, bro.
Really? You want a few of those?
Is Tiffany's jewelry?
Yeah.
Just expensive diamonds?
No, it's all kinds of stuff. It's bracelets, necklaces, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Spoons.
Spoons? Like little ones?
Well, you get like a silver spoon, so you can
for your spoon collection that you hang on the wall.
Do you have a spoon collection?
No, I don't.
Why not?
It's just something I've never collected.
He's got a birthday coming up.
Tiffany spoon. Look for that blue box.
Sweet. I'll take it from Gary. Absolutely. Why not?
Well, let's talk about the arrangements that you guys have with the photographers. You bring on some rock star, top level talent to create these tutorials and produce them with. How does that arrangement work with these guys? Are they work for hire? Are they contracting? How does it? What's that arrangement?
They get cut in on a percentage forever. So as long as it's selling, they basically own part. They own that content with us. So as long as we're able to sell it, they get a check every single month.
Wow,
in
almost like an annuity.
So as long as we go, they go. They continue to make money from us, which over the life of something can be a nice little boost for those guys.
They create more and more tutorials, and it just sort of accumulates.
But, again, we're getting some of these rock star talents because they understand the value of wanting to change the direction of the business, and a lot of photographers look at it as a legacy piece. They really want people to understand the way they think, the way that they make images, the why behind how they make images, and that's important to them.
Yeah.
You kind of can't underestimate the power of that.
Yeah. Quality. I like that. I'm sensing that theme of quality and keeping things, not racing to the bottom, right?
Yeah.
No, I think we're anything but a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
We've never, oh God, we could do things a lot cheaper. We put an enormous amount of money into our productions.
$19.95.
We put months into it.
It sucks seeing these platforms pop up that they have nothing to do on the production, but they've created this marketplace. I won't name names, but it's now this marketplace where anyone can submit their content, and everything is $4.95.
Yes,
it's like $4.95 for this class. And it's like, oh, clearly you guys have a huge investment to pay back from whatever VC money you raised.
Yeah.
Like, geez, thanks a lot.
There's always going to be a market for different levels. All right, so let's wrap it up. So we are, like I said at the beginning, we're in.
Wait, what? It's over?
We're in old. Yeah, I'm clear, concise, and to the point.
My pants are still on.
You can learn from this.
You don't like to talk much, do you?
don't.
What kind of podcasting does that like to talk?
I hate talking. But we're in Puerto Rico. Old San Juan is great, beautiful old inn that we're in. It's magical. It's kind of a magical place. Why are we here? I mean, what's this about? What's this? And you guys do this every year. What's the purpose of this trip?
I've always, from a young age, loved bringing people together. That usually turns into the form of some sort of party. So, you know, that's why we started throwing parties in New York at PPE, because it was like we'd go to these events. I was never really thrilled with what happened at night. It was always just like very corporate, bland parties. And I was like, Rob, let's throw a party. Like, let's throw a party a party that we'd want to go to, that people would leave being like, whoa, what the hell was that? And why was I there? And like, why would they pay for that? And
please tell me no one took photos, right?
Yeah. Oh no, we brought in people to take photos. We set up, the first one we had like 3 different photo booths. Like there were pictures everywhere. It's crazy.
We started, and we've thrown a bunch of parties at like WPPI and PPE, and it's a great time to have a lot of face-to-faces with a lot of people we follow on, you know, Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be, and a lot of our, you know, people that we work with are there, and it's always good to invite our community out and meet the people that are buying our tutorials. So some might say it's a complete waste of money, but we've had some great conversations and some great things come out of these events and parties.
We built relationships out of it, and
it always pays for itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's more than just that. It's definitely a great time, and you bring people together, and we have some good conversations. But I think it's also, it's kind of an indication of who Gary and I are as business owners and as partners. We take our work seriously, but we take our fun seriously too. We want to have a good time. We want people to really understand that while we take ourselves seriously, we also don't. That's why I walk into all these bear traps.
You do. You do. That's a running joke. That's a running joke. Because you're so serious and put together, and then this guy puts down a bear trap verbally, and you're just like,
but my shins are broken. I mean, they have just been broken. It's practically an amputee at this point.
That's fantastic. All right, guys. Well, speaking of partying in Puerto Rico, let's go drink. Let's get out of here.
To the roof.
Yeah. Let's get to the roof. Let's go get marinated. Where should people go? Where should people go to see more of this stuff? Sign up, buy stuff, all that.
Oh, hell, then go
RGGEDU.com.
This is TWiP.